Hi folks, Philip Andrews here from PhotoshopElements.net, and I'd just like to welcome you along to this special presentation on 5 steps to enhancing your scans or editing your scans, perfecting your scans with Photoshop Elements. As always, we want to make this as interactive as possible, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them at the end and just use the chat pod on the left hand side of the presentation space in order to do that. We are also recording this e-seminar, and it will be available later for you to play back at the PhotoshopElements.net website. Remember that we have tons of tips and tricks and also techniques and e-seminars, previous e-seminars available at the website. That's enough of the advertisements. Let's just jump into the e-seminar itself. We get a lot of inquiries on the website about how best to scan our images, especially when someone's working on a family history project or something like that. So I thought we'd start right at the beginning with the actual scan and then go through some of the key steps that you'll need to undertake in order to get good results and put them into those scrapbooks or photo books for family history that a lot of you, I know a lot of you, are actually working on, because that's the type of emails that we're getting. So let's first of all look at using just the scanning software provided by the scanner company itself. So I'm just going to jump down to my desktop to start with. And here we've got the Epson scan software, but it's very similar with other scanning companies as well. Notice that there's several different modes that we can work with. There's the full auto mode, where the scanner itself looks at the document that you're scanning and make some decisions about it. Is it color, is it black and white, and also what type of quality and what type of, I guess, dots per inch or resolution that's going to be recorded. Then there's the home mode, which gives you some control, and then there's professional mode as well. I'm just going to quickly look at the professional mode to show you the sorts of control that is possible with some of these scanner drivers. You can see here that we can choose, is it reflective or film, whether we're scanning from the document table, or if we're working with the film scanner, whether we're using the film holder, the type of exposure that we're looking for. So it's using auto exposure. So by telling the scanner driver the type of document that we're working with, it will better decide on the exposure. Image type, you can see here we've got full color, which is the 24-bit color, which is preferable when you're working with color images, and even with black and white, and I'll show you why in a minute. And also color smoothing, 8-bit grayscale, and black and white. Now in this case, black and white is purely just black and white and only really suitable for text. Resolution, 300 dots per inch is a good one to start with, or 200 or 240 dots per inch is also appropriate. When we're actually scanning, it's worth thinking that, or it's worth remembering that the level that we sample the image at, that is the resolution that we're using here, will determine the maximum size that we can actually output the image. So if you're wanting to make a good quality print of the image that you're scanning at exactly the same size as that image, so if it's a 5x7 inch print, you want to make a 5x7 inch print, well then 200 or 240 dots per inch would be fine. If you want to print that image larger, well then you will need to sample more information, gather more information from that image at the time of scanning so that you can actually print it larger. So roughly speaking, if you're wanting to go twice the size, I would at least go 1.5 times more than 200. So in this case, 350 would be fine to give you more pixels to play with when you're outputting. Alternatively, you can actually work with a target size. So here you can actually look at the size of the final print that you're working with, and the driver will actually do some help, will actually help you determine the type of settings that you need. Then we have a range of different controls here, mainly to do with exposure and brightness of the image. But let me just click on preview for the moment and show you what happens when we actually do a preview of the image. So remember, here we're working with the actual Epson scanner driver. So this is all happening live, and you can probably hear my scanner whirring away in the background. You see that we've got two images here. We've got a monochrome image, which is sepia, and then we also have a colored image as well, a little Polaroid. Now at this point we'd actually select the parts of the image that we wish to keep in the scan, because this is just a preview, and then go ahead and click scan. We could also do things like change the levels, change the brightness, and remove any color casts if we need to at this point. And then we just go ahead and click scan, and that will scan the image and usually dump it onto your desktop or a folder that you've selected. I'm going to close out of the Epson scanner and show you how we can go about working with scanners inside Photoshop Elements. So I'm inside the main editor space now, and if I go up to File and then down to Import, you'll notice that I have an option here called WIA Support. Seems a little bit of a strange name, but it's basically just a connection system for things like scanners. So here you can see that in this first dialog, we can choose where the support mechanism will be saving any files. In this case, we're going to just drop them onto the desktop. We can choose whether we include those images into a uniquely named folder, which may be helpful. And we also want to open the images into Photoshop Elements. So I'm just going to click Start. And here you can see my scanner. It's just a simple multifunction device. I'll select that, click OK. And then we'll get a new little dialog that opens up that enables us to make some decisions about what we're doing. First of all, we'll click Preview Scan, as we did before with the Epson software. See the same two images are being previewed. Left hand side, we have the option of choosing whether it's a color image, grayscale, black and white, or text, or whether we're working with custom settings. If you want to work in a full auto mode, you can just click scan at this point. If you want to do some custom work, well, then you can actually click on the adjust the quality of the scan picture link that you see here. You can make changes in brightness and contrast, and what's really important for us is resolution. At the moment it's on 100 pixels per inch, which is too small for us. So we want to actually bring this up to, let's make it 300 pixels per inch or dots per inch, and then just click OK. I also want to make sure that we are scanning both of the images onto the single document. We could, if we wanted to, just isolate each individual image and just scan a couple of times. But I want to scan both images into a single document to show you a feature inside Photoshop Elements which will really help when you're doing a lot of scanning. So I'll just click Scan now. So Photoshop Elements is now talking with the scanner, and it's actually scanning those two images at 300 pixels per inch and as a color image. Even though one of them is a monochrome sepia, we're just keeping it being scanned as a color image. Now, depending on the resolution that you select, the scanning process can take a reasonable amount of time. The higher the resolution,